So I'm Jaron Lanier. I'm a computer scientist, and I wrote a book called You Are Not a Gadget. And in the book, as I think most people have figured out by now, I promote a new sort of humanism where I suggest that technologists should think of people as being, let's say, supernaturally superior to machines, even if they might not be, but we should adopt that point of view on the chance that we are so, because to not do that doesn't expect enough of people and puts us in risk of designing technologies that don't bring out the best. We should have the very highest expectation of ourselves as we create our own future. As for advertising, I think the most important thing I can say is that the word is used in two different ways to mean two very different things, and that confusion doesn't do anyone any good. On the one hand, there's advertising, which is a communication art. And on the other hand, there's advertising as is practiced by Google, which is not really advertising, but is instead gatekeeping, where you're paid to make a channel available between people, but that's all it is. And in my view, the gatekeeping function should not exist as a business. I think Google should give it up, which might be a bit of a hard sell, since it's one of the most profitable ideas in the history of business, and yet it leads us to a bad place, because even though it's called advertising, it gradually demands that everything that is advertised give up part of its own business model in the service of this gatekeeping function, and it creates a broadened impoverishment, very much analogous, directly analogous to what hedge fund computing did to financial markets, where you have the position of the server in the center, and you can pull money out of what other people are doing in a way that doesn't really contribute, even though there might be an illusion for a while that it is. So in the long term, the Google model is not sustainable and should be given up. And I'm sure they would do much better with other models, and it will just take me some time to talk them into it. But none of this should be confused with real advertising. In the future, I would advocate where people can actually live off the products of their brains and sell things to each other that are communications. In that future, a lot of people would still choose to advertising, and I think there's a far greater chance of beautiful and interesting advertising than there would be in the future we're entering, where it's all about just cutting off access, where it's a sort of a coercive or a negative form of interaction. So I wish all the advertisers well. I plea for advertisements that are beautiful and not annoying, but I know that would do no good, since I myself have contributed to the creation of annoying ads when I provide my services as a composer. So I can't live by my own directive in that regard. But anyway, I wish you all well, and that is all I can say.